Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Vietnam. When we last left off, I had just finished some star players, which means I should be starting on my team for this year. I want to have a team completely painted this year and take it to a tournament somewhere in the world, and that team is Orcs. But in preparation to get this team completely ready, I was looking for a few extra minis first. While in America last September, I sent out the call. I needed 4 basic cheesy plastic Orcs, second edition, the ones that came in the box set with the astrogranite pitch. One man stepped up. That was Kilowoggy, half of the dynamic duo that host Both Down, the #1 Blood Bowl podcast in Vietnam. I've been saying that for quite some time, but I've been doing a little research and asking around in Laos and Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia. I'm pretty sure it's the #1 Blood Bowl podcast in all of Southeast Asia. Anyway, when he was throwing these in the mail and asking for nothing in return, I asked if I could at least paint a couple of miniatures for him or something. He threw 2 minis in the package, and they were both Orcs. That's great because that gives me some Orc practice before I start on my own Orc team. Very convenient. Before addressing the 2 Orcs that he sent me, I have a question. If you had this second edition set, or you've got any aftermarket after all these years, because that was over 30 years ago, what color were your Orcs? I've seen probably 3 or 4 of these boxes opened up in my home city in Indiana, and all of the Orcs were red, and all of the humans were blue. For some reason, his are the same color blue that our humans were. Here's one that I had painted from my old original set, and since he's painted you can't see his plastic, but when I flip him upside down you can see his red tab, blue tab, red tab. I'm not sure. I doubt very seriously that they sent red Orcs to Indiana and blue Orcs to Oklahoma, so I don't really know what the difference is. Why were they molded in different plastics? Were your Orcs red? Were your Orcs blue? What color were your humans? And for bonus points, tell me about the dwarves and the elves that were in the Dungeon Bowl box also. Because somebody told me that they may have been different colors also. Our elves were yellow, and my dwarves that I opened up were orange. The dwarves were orange, the elves were yellow, the Orcs were red, and the humans were blue. Let me know what color yours were wherever you were. So here are the 2 minis that he sent in, and I did have 2 issues. 1, modification problem, and 2, base size issue. On the drummer, I just wanted to remove the skull that was on the back of his drum. No problems with that. On the thrower, I wanted to remove the spikes that were on his shoulder pad and his armor. You'll see why in a little bit. I know everybody nowadays loves resin and plastic kits, and it does make it easy for trying to remove stuff, but I do have some issues with it. One being somebody who started gaming in the 80s, we're used to metal miniatures, so I guarantee that while doing the modifications on this thrower, if he was made of metal, his finger wouldn't have broken off. That finger was not fixable, so instead of pointing now, I had to mold a new one that's folded over in his closed fist, so now instead of pointing, he's just fisting the air. The base issue is that the thrower came with a new modern 34mm base in the package. However, the drummer he sent me without a base. I don't have any other 34mm bases. I still live in the old Blood Bowl world where miniatures came on 20s, 25s, or 40mm bases, so I have plenty of those with me at all times, but I don't have any 34mm bases. The drummer, his stance is so wide that there's no way he would fit on a 25mm base. So I had to take the 34mm base from the thrower to use for the drummer, and then that's why the thrower is now on a 25mm base. If he needs to be on one of the bigger bases, he can easily fix that later. To me, GW Orcs, like Green Lantern rings and anything gamma radiation or Hulk related, needs to be green. Since this gives me an opportunity to experiment a little, I decided to try to go with a more bluish green than I normally would. Very early in the process, I started to question this decision. I really should get more comfortable experimenting instead of always trying to stick with the same colors and processes. I am not sure if it's the lighting or the camera, but this is showing on the screen way bluer than it actually was. This was actually jade green. I really tried to push myself to finish completely to see if it looked okay before deciding to switch the colors, but I stopped myself early and switched to more traditional orcish colors. Now what to do with the team colors? I asked if these were supposed to match a specific team. What colors? Any patterns, designs, or themes to stick with? Kilowaki said to do whatever I wanted and that they were not planning on playing with any already existing teams. What to do? How about if I make sure that he knows these are the only minis he has that were painted in Vietnam? Red and yellow it is. Pretty good colors because the red is complementary with the green skin, so they'll stand out. He did have one request though. Since the thrower is standing on a helmet from the opposition, make it a decapitated patriot. As a Hoosier that had to live through the first decade of this millennium, I can fully support this decision. Although, at this scale, it's really a bit hard to paint an NFL logo, but I tried my best to represent what it would look like. Only 2 notes on the finished products. 1, parts of these came out really shiny. I should hit them with a little matte varnish. That actually would be a good human player name, Matte Varnish. 2, as an old school Warhammer player, this drummer is obviously a savage orc, so he probably should have some war paint or tattoos. Since there's no savage orcs per se in Blood Bowl, I feel okay with just leaving him as a regular everyday orc. Now, since I'm on the other side of the globe, how will I return them to Kilowagi and their rightful home in the New World?